Ring Kings Boxing, we in this thing. Shout out to the fam and the Boxing Nation. Appreciate you joining me for this episode of Ring Kings Boxing, man. This was a pretty good fight right here for this past Saturday afternoon. If you didn't get an opportunity to see Jared Big Baby Anderson take on Martin, this was actually a pretty good fight. Now, Martin is a formidable a big guy who's had championship bouts. He's had a belt. He's over the prime, but he's a good test for the young Jared Anderson. And Chris Martin went up in Toledo, man, and had a very strong fight up against him. We're going to cover this on this episode of Ring Kings Boxing. I'm Big Q. Please feel free to smash the like button and the share button as we get going on this edition of Ring Kings Boxing. Jared Anderson post 10-round unanimous decision victory over Charles Martin. Now, what's really interesting is a lot of people wanted to see what Jared Anderson can do, and he was able to. He went the distance. It's the first time in his young career that he did that. Prior to it, he had 14 fights, 14 knockouts. Most of those fighters were guys that wasn't really, people that you would hang your hat on. So he was just knocking them out. And with Charles Martin, who's a former champion, he's a bit past his prime, a lot past his prime. Gave the young Jared Anderson a lot to think about in this fight. You know, this was an interesting fight. A lot of people liked this fight, and I thought it was very entertaining. Now, Jared Anderson, Mike Coppington covered it and talked about the most promising heavyweight contender, because what makes, Jared Anderson very interesting is the fact that he's a big fighter. He's a heavyweight that fights like a light heavyweight or even a middleweight. His punch volume is ridiculous. He's super active in the ring, which if you're a big fighter and you're fighting a guy like Jared Anderson, I mean, he is a guy. This is first time going deep. At the end of the fight, we're going to play his post game, his post fight interview and how he felt. But this was a pretty good test for him, and he's moving forward. He wants another couple of fights before the end of this season, and he is really kind of taking on whoever's coming this way. So the judges turned in the scorecards 98-91, 99-90, and 99-90. Unanimous decision victory over Charles Martin Saturday in Toledo, Ohio. Now, Anderson's just 23 years of age, and Martin accepted assignment 12 days notice after his other after the other Zhan Kossobutskiy was forced to withdraw with visa issues. Now, Anderson, who's 15-0, 14 knockouts, was forced to survive some rocky moments. Now, he's about 6'4", 240 plus pounds, but he was able to put Charles Martin on the ground in the third round. And then the rest of the fights, he changed, they traded some shots, but Martin got him. And of course, he said he didn't hurt him. He got his attention and he didn't feel like he was hurt. There was several times during this fight where you see Jared Anderson got rocked by Charles Martin, and Charles Martin with those long arms was able to put some good shots together. And I mean, several of them was straight jabs straight through Jared Anderson's defense. So he has to go back to the gym and work on that, because as he gets further up in rankings and fight more complete fighters, he'll have to kind of refine and make adjustments to his game. But it's a lot of promise with Jared Anderson. This was a good fight, man, for those who didn't get an opportunity to see it. It was a really good fight. So total punches landed for Anderson. Look at the punch volume by Anderson, 157 to 85 by Martin. He threw 369 to 324. He landed 43% of those shots versus 26 by Martin. Jabs, 58 183 thrown, landed 58 of them. His percentage on that was 32%. The power shots, he landed 99 of 186 power shots for a percentage of 53%. He has punching power in both hands. Very tough fighter. His chin was tested with Charles Martin tonight. And there were several times when Charles Martin had him in trouble in this fight. So he'll definitely have to make some adjustments. But overall, I like what kind of fight this was for Anderson, testing his mettle, and it was pretty promising. So anyway, let's get into the post-fight. This is what he had to say after the end of the fight. Here's Jared Anderson.
For the first time in your professional career, how did full 10 rounds feel?
Hey, it felt great. I had my team with me. I got my family with me. I got Toledo with me, man. They showed up. They in the building. They was with me the entire 10 rounds, man. I heard them all the way throughout. So I was very grateful for my opponent. He took the fight on a short notice, man. He came in, he performed hella good. And I think we put on a hell of a great show for Toledo. I wanted to go the distance. It was my first time, and I just wanted to make sure I could go the distance. I had it in me, especially to be able to withstand power the whole 10 rounds. He had power to the last round, so I was just happy to get the rounds in.
Your power was on display in round 3 when you got the knockdown, when you switched southpaw. But then your chin got a little bit tested there in round 5 in particular. That was one of the questions that maybe you and other people had, was how could you handle maybe getting chin checked? Do you feel like you answered some of those questions tonight?
For sure, without a doubt. I think I took his best shot very well. I don't think it was a time in the fight where I looked unsteady or that I couldn't hold my own.
So you never felt like you were hurt at all in the fight?
Did I feel like he hit me with a good shot and stunned me? Nah, but do I feel like he hit with a good shot and made me aware? Yes, I had to readjust. I'm like, oh, damn, he hit me with a good-ass shot. So I had to readjust, and get back into my game plan.
He took the fight in short notice. It was important for you to get a southpaw as you were preparing for a southpaw anyway. Does that lend itself to maybe who you would like to fight in the future, being that one of the belt holders at the top of the division is also a southpaw, or is that just, because you were already preparing for one? What's the long-term goal here?
We were just already prepared for it. What's in my plans is with my team and my promotional company. You know what I'm saying? I'm fighting right now, just soaking up all the game, and following the path.
Any names on that path that you'd like to mention? I'm sure a lot of the heavyweight division will be watching this fight closely.
Nah, no specific names, but everybody in the top 10, why not? Let's get it on.
I think staying active, though, has to be what's most important.
100% staying active. I'm trying to get at least 2 more fights this year.
All right, lastly, Toledo, everybody that come out, what would you like to say to your family, your friends, and everybody that came out tonight to the Huntington Center?
To everybody in Toledo, thank you. I love y'all. I'm so proud of all of us, man. Hey, I have my doubts, man, but y'all overdid the standard for me, man. Y'all overdid it. I'm so thankful. I think I put on a great show, especially with the band, walking out with my artist Simba. Hey, it was great. I think I put on a great show, and I'm so thankful that y'all showed up for me.
15-0. Congratulations, Jared.
Thank you.
That's Jared Anderson, man. Post-fight, him handling the business, man. And you got to give young Jared Anderson some credit, man, because he did a phenomenal job in this fight. A lot of people wanted him to knock out Chris Martin, but Martin was a savvy veteran in there. He did what he was supposed to do. It was several times you seen Jared was trying to get him out of there, but Martin smart, knowing how to move and how to kind of use his length there to kind of keep Jared Anderson. And Jared said he stunned him. No, he actually rocked him a few times and Martin had a little bit more zest or energy. He could have been able to really hurt Jared Anderson. But listen, that's not the point. The point is that this young fighter got a test right now from Chris Martin, who's a former champion, past his prime. He was able still to go the distance. He knocked Martin down once early in the 3rd round. Then he carried on and took care of the business and got the W. So it was a pretty good matchup, man, for Jared. Now, with that being said, all right, and it was a fighter originally, and this is dropping from Boxing News. Next opponent, Jared plans to fight on August the 26th, which is, like he said, he's trying to get 2 more fights. And why not? If you're a guy that is a knockout artist and you're able to kind of floor guys and get them out of there, why would you not want to get as many fights as you can? Jared right now is 15-0 with 14 knockouts. 2 more fights before the end of the year gives him possibly 17-0 going into the 2024 year, where he'd be looking for more competitive fights, possibly getting into the top 10 and getting an opportunity. That's what he's looking for. So his next fight set for August the 26th against Kossobutskiy for the next fight. So we'll see how that rings in. And this is a fighter that's 19-0 that he'll be taking on going into it. So it'll be another interesting fight for the young Jared Anderson, the big baby Anderson. So this is the next fight for him, and that'll be we'll be looking out for this future really good heavyweight prospect who's 15-0 with 14 knockouts, man. Knockout power in both fists. The guy can fight. He got to kind of make some adjustments, but he has a good chin, absorbed a lot of punishment. But this was a very interesting fight. If you guys didn't get an opportunity to see the Anderson fight, man, feel free to look up the highlights or, go check it out, man, because it was pretty good. So with that being said, I'm going to get out on that. Appreciate the family members for joining us for this episode of Ring Kings Boxing. Please smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and make Ring Kings Boxing your favorite stop for all things boxing related. And I'm up out of this thing. Shout out to the fam.